Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is RetroDog34, and in this week's video we're going to go ahead and talk about the new PTS patch notes version 7.1.0. Alright, so with this patch notes, we're going to be talking about the Waking Flames DLC game pack. We're going to talk about the Waking Flames 4-player dungeon that they're adding, the Red Petal Bastion and the Dread Cellar. We're also going to talk about some of the new collectibles and item sets. We're also going to talk maybe about the achievements and some of the titles that we can acquire from here. We're also going to touch base on just some of the base game improvements that they did. And one of my favorite things that they added to this is the reply option to the received mail. That is so awesome. And of course, within these patch notes, there's a plethora of other bug fixes for the entire game. A great 25-cent word right there. But they're also fixing a lot of different things within the whole of the base game to include DLCs and companions and so on and so forth. All right, so just on the PTS note, they've copied over the PC Mac North America characters and also supplied a max level character template. We hope you enjoy this latest update. All right, so in this, we're going to talk about some of the table of contents. So we're going to talk about the Waking Flames, of course. We're going to touch a little on the base game. And then we'll go ahead and get into some of the fixes for the chapters and the different DLCs that they have. We're going to talk a little about the combat and gameplay, not a whole lot, and then finish it up in this video with the base game. All right, so the Waking Flame DLC, 2 new dungeons. So with our 2 new dungeons, we get the Red Petal Bastion and again, great dungeon. I love the lore that's coming off this. For centuries, the Honorables, Knights of the Silver Rose, persecuted crusades against the servants of the Oblivion. Awesome. Love it. The Dread Cellar. This one's a little dark, gothic. The Empire kept its darkest secrets hidden in the depths of the Black Marsh. In this far from prying eyes, right? It's a torture chamber meant to hold those the Empire wanted to vanish. So with this, where do we find these? The Red Petal Bastion entrance is in northeastern Glenumbra. The entrance is the east of the Burial Mounds, and the Dread Cellar's entrance is located in North Blackwood, northwest of Wilkie. Both dungeons include the normal version, and additionally, challenging veteran version. Each dungeon also features challenging hard modes for each of their 3 bosses. That is going to be some fun. All right, so with both of the dungeons, we include the normal version. I've already said that. There are unique item sets, including 2 new Undaunted Monster Masks only available within the dungeons. Unique achievements awards are available for completing the dungeons, including unique body and face markings, a unique memento, several titles, and unique housing items. So one of the things that I definitely noticed is the shift from skins to unique body and face markings. That definitely has changed. I don't know if that's something the devs are doing going forward. All right, so new item sets. The Waking Flame adds additional new items. So let's go ahead and get into this. So in the Dread Cellar, we got our light set. It adds 1096 maximum magicka. 3 items adds 129 max recovery, or magicka recovery rather. 4 items add 129 weapon and spell damage. 5th item, when you deal damage with the fully charged heavy attack, you gain an imbued aura for 10 seconds, granting you and up to 3 group members 307 magicka and stamina recovery. This effect can occur once every 20 seconds. If you deal damage with the fully charged heavy attack with an imbued active aura, consume it and gain an overflow for 10 seconds, granting you and up to 3 other group members 307 weapon spell damage. Looks fun. Definitely looking forward to that set. All right, so let's talk about the medium set. So with this, 2 items, 129 stamina recovery, 3, 129 weapon and spell damage, 4, 1487 offensive penetration. 5, when you deal direct damage with blink, charge, leap, teleport, or pull ability, pulls enemies within 10 meters to you. After 2 seconds, deal physical damage to all enemies within 7 meters. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. It scales off your higher of your weapon and spell damage. The pull will not apply crowd control immunity to a target. That is definitely something very PvP focused. All right, so let's check out the developer comment. We expect to see a lot of power from the set with its ability to pull enemies without applying crowd control. In early initial playtests, we experimented both with and without the CC immunity applications, and with it, the pull from this set felt challenging to engage with, as your goal was to keep everyone clumped up for a prolonged period of time for the boom. But you couldn't do it. With the no CC immunity application, we hope there is both enough time to get out before you get hit with the big stun like a Dawnbreaker or smiting and the explosion from this set, and room to try and deny your opponent to do that. Note that this set will still respect CC immunity and not pull targets who are immune to CC. So this is a great PvP set. I could definitely see running this in Battlegrounds or in Cyrodiil. Definitely looking forward to messing around with this set. This actually looks really, really fun to play. All right, let's get into the heavy set. All right, so adds 1487 armor, adds 1206 maximum health, adds 1487 armor, and then number 5, when you use an ability that applies a major or minor buff to yourself or an ally, set a wave of energy that reduces the armor of nearby enemies within 12 meters by 3541 for 15 seconds. This effect can occur once every 12 seconds and will only occur if an enemy is within range. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the developer spoiler. We hope this set will become a COR group set. So see what we did there. Nice. All right, so let's look at the monster helm, or the monster set. Adds 129 magical recovery and adds 129 stamina recovery. When you heal yourself or group members with a single target heal ability, grant the lowest health group member within 28 meters minor courage and minor resolve. Increase their weapon and spell damage by 215 and armor 2974 for 10 seconds. Daedric energy will then bounce to a nearby group member up to 3 times, applying minor courage and minor resolve for 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. All right, so let's read the developer comment spoil. The Daedric energy will always prioritize lower health group members that have not already been hit by the magma incarnate. That is going to be interesting to run. Looking forward to it. All right, so the red petal bastion sets. So we got the light, adds 1487 offensive penetration, adds 129 weapon and spell damage. 4th, adds 129 weapon and spell damage. Number 5, dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack calls a bolt of lightning at your target, dealing shock damage and leaving a 4-meter lightning crater at the location for 6 seconds, dealing shock damage per second to enemies touching the crater. This effect can occur once every 12 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. I could definitely see running this on my one bar pet Sork, the one that I typically run in all my arenas. Definitely looking forward to that. All right, so medium set adds 1096 maximum stamina, adds 129 weapon and spell damage, adds 1487 offensive penetration, adds 526 maximum stamina, and number 5, dealing a light attack damage grants you a stack of Baker's Delight for 5 seconds. When you gain 3 stacks, you create a sweet roll next to your target for 5 seconds. If you or an ally touches a sweet roll, both you and your ally gain one of the following. So it's random. Restore 1593 health, magic, or stamina, gain empower for 10 seconds, and gain major force for 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 2 seconds. This is going to be a fun build to run, or a fun set to run, namely because, I mean, come on, we're using sweet rolls and you actually have to roll through it or touch it. I wonder what that box looks like to touch, right? All right, so the heavy set adds 1096 maximum stamina, adds 1206 maximum health, adds 1096 maximum stamina, and number 5, block and attack grants you a stack of Realm Shaper for 15 seconds, gaining up to 1 stack every 0.5 seconds. When you reach 3 stacks, you consume them and launch necrotic energy at your attacker, dealing magic damage and applying major maim for 12 seconds, reducing their damage down by 10%. Once you fire the necrotic energy, you cannot gain additional stacks of Realm Shaper for 12 seconds. Damage scales off of max health. So if you're running a healthy tank, this set will be a bonus to run on that type of tank. Namely because as tanks we're always blocking, and with it we could definitely charge off. So if you're running like a max health up near the 50s, some of my tanks are definitely like in the 46 up to 50 range, that is going to be a great set to run. All right, so the Monster Mask adds 129 weapon and spell damage. 2, dealing direct damage within an area of effect ability creates 6 meter shadowy whirlwind below your enemy for 7 seconds. Enemies within the whirlwind take physical damage each second and increase their damage taken from your area of effect abilities by 5%. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. Wow, that is going to be a great DPS monster set right there. I could definitely see that. I could see some huge applications in PvP too. That's definitely going to be a set to look out for. All right, so the new collectibles and dies. So we got our outfit styles that we can get from running veteran Dread Cellar and from running Red Petal Bastion. So we also get the Magna Incarnate Helm and the Prior Etheric Shoulders. We also get a Momentum. The Agonism Stone can be obtained from the Dread Cellar's Conqueror achievement. We also get markings. The Shattered Chivalry Face Tattoo can be obtained by earning the Arcane Analyst achievement, and the Shattered Chivalry Body Tattoo can be obtained by earning the Red Petal Bastion Conqueror achievement. We also get Pets. The Scorpion Pet can be obtained by earning the Walking Flame Explorer achievement. Probably won't. I'll get the achievement, but I probably will never activate the pet one because I don't like scorpions. The die, the Moonshadow Orchid die, can be obtained by earning the Walking Flame Deliverer achievement. All right. So we got the new furnishings. We also get new achievements and titles. We also get new motifs. I'm not going to really get into these, but if you pull up the patch notes, definitely, if you're looking for the new achievements and titles, they're listed right here. So definitely check out the patch notes. But we do get a bunch of new titles and achievements. Looking forward to some of those. All right, so the PvP campaign changes for Update 31. The existing non-CP Citadel and Imperial City campaigns will now also prohibit proc sets from firing. We have expanded the number of sets from the original grouping that worked during the initial test several months ago. As a refresher, the following sets are not affected by this rule set when it was originally implemented. So they went ahead and listed them out, a bunch of them that many of you already are running. The following sets will function with these campaign rules during the week PTS patch and when Update 31 launches. So again, it looks like these are going to be the following sets that they're going to go ahead and let function within the campaign rules. So we got like the Amber Plasm, the Fortified Brass, again, looks like they just added a few more to this list because some of those are already ones that they had already had on the list. So definitely, if you play PvP and you're looking at this is definitely one of the areas in the patch notes to look up. In the coming weeks, the following sets will be added and will be included with the update 31 at launch. So like Armor of the Seducer, Assassin's Guile, Black Rose, Blood Drinker, the Caustic Arrow Master, the Crushing Wall from Maelstrom, Deadly Strike, Eagle Eye, Elfbane. Definitely know some PvP builds that ran that. Eye of Mara, Hawkeyes. I'm trying to see if any Permafrost. I knew someone that was trying to build one. off that. Let's see, going through here, Shield Breaker, Torx Pack, War Maiden. Those again are additionally, they're going to disable one of the other sets. All right, so let's talk about the rewards of the worthy. They've added 3 new item sets to be acquired through rewards of the worthy. So the light set adds 1096 max magic up, 1487 offensive penetration, adds 129 weapon and spell damage. Casting ability that leaves an effect on the ground will create an area that applies a 30% snare and pulls enemies every 2 seconds after a 0.5 second delay. And stuns them for 1 second. After 4 seconds, the area deals magic damage to all enemies in the area. Additional magic damage to enemies within 3 meters of the center. Increasing the damage by 10% for each target. This effect can occur every 20 seconds and scales off the higher your weapon spell damage. So this is kind of interesting. There's a lot of pool sets in this. All right, so this set was designed with the one goal in mind: kill large groups. Pesky Zerg sitting on your keep or resource flag, send them to the void by pairing this set with some hard CC or immobilizations. All right, so medium set. Add 1487 offensive penetration, add 129 weapon and spell damage, add 129 weapon and spell damage. 5, dealing direct damage to an enemy turns them into a plague carrier for 10 seconds. Dealing disease damage over the duration of the plague. If the plague is removed early, it explodes, infecting enemies within 8 meters of the carrier, dealing disease damage. The explosion deals an additional 10% per enemy hit. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. It scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. This set is nasty. All right, so similar to the Dark Convergence, we targeted large groups again with this set, focusing on their ability to have numerous purges running, making locking them down and bleeding them out incredibly difficult to do. Now, large groups must purge more carefully, running the risk of setting off ticking time bombs and having to heal up the aftermath instead of repeatedly casting it with reckless abandon. All right, so the heavy set adds 1206 maximum health, adds 1487 armor, adds 1487 offensive penetration. Stunning or immobilizing your enemy causes them to burst with frost magic, applying chilled status effect and dealing 26% of their total physical and spell resistance as frost damage to themselves and enemies within 8 meters. This effect can occur once every 7 seconds. That looks awesome, especially if you're running a tank build in Cyrodiil. All right, this next part I'm going to go ahead and skip past. It's a multi-rendering thread. It's for PCs. If you want, go into the patch notes and you can read this. All right, so what I want to talk about is the mail reply. We've added a reply option to received mail, which will open a new mail with the subject line and the player name pre-populated. This is definitely a quality of life that I'm happy they brought into the game. That is so needed. Not gonna lie. All right, so new collectibles. Update 31 brings new collectibles and items for you to acquire through various means. So we got costumes, we got emotes, we got adornment. We even have 2 new homes available for testing in this update. So definitely a lot of stuff that they're adding to the game. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting some of these collectibles, not all of them, but definitely I could see myself getting quite a few of these. I don't know if I'm going to buy the new house, but I definitely have a guildmate that will definitely buy the new houses. All right, so we also get in update 31, we're introducing several new furnishings and updates. If you guys want, I'm not huge into the furnishings and updates and stuff like that, so I'm just going to kind of go through this pretty quick. All right, so update 32, prologue quest, an apocalyptic situation. The Dread Lady, Alanith the Demora, I hope I said that right, needs your help to investigate the activities of the Moondrus dragon cult and determine the nature of the situation. She believes she could spell the doom of the mortal world. Join her on the adventure that will take you across Tamriel and possibly even the realms beyond. To begin the Deadlands prologue quest. For testing, you first need to obtain the free Crown Store quest starter item, Lyranith's Letter, venture to Daggerfall, Devon's Watch, or Vocal Guard, depending on your alliance, and find Lyranith's Messenger, Rokotina Sinia. I hope I said that right, outside the city walls. Talk to Rokodina to begin the first of the 2 quests, an apocalyptic situation. Wow, say that 10 times too fast. All right, so here I'm going to go ahead and skip past. This is all talking about the PTS templates. All right, so combat and gameplay for the companions idle animation. This is some of the stuff that they're fixing. So like a companion idle animation now transitions more smoothly. Fixed issues that could cause companions to provide incorrect dialogue in Gloomreach. Again, these are just a bunch of different fixes. Miri no longer gains rapport when looting Psijic portals, as she's not fascinated by them the way Bastion is. So definitely looking for a fix an issue that could cause companion dialogue to not update correctly after accepting a companion's personal quest. You can no longer talk to companions while you're mounted and have a quest for you. Rock Grove Trial. So these are the dungeons and group content bug fixes. The Rock Grove Trial. Basks in snakes will now correctly fire abilities as intended. The Flame Heralds Bashi. So that's going to appropriate interrupt animations when she's interrupted. So they're fixing that. Quest zones of the knives and the long shadows added boss immunities. Antiquities fixed a typo. I mean, they're going in here fixing a bunch of different things within the game, which if you've been playing this game long enough, you know that they have like little bugs, I won't say grammar errors, but they do have a couple little things like this one. You no longer must remain in solitude while in solitude. You can now get married at the Shrine of Morrow there. I mean, that's kind of a funny bug fix to fix. So definitely those are different little things that they're definitely added and fixing in the game. Exploration itemization. The Black Rose equipment box can now be opened by characters of any level instead of a level 50 character. Equipment from this box will grant gear scale to your level. All right. Morrowind quests. So these are some of them that they're fixing. There's some broken bonds. Some doors in Firemoth Island now tell you why you can't open them when you try. The Tribunal Troubles fixed some Dwarven supply crates so they now properly have collisions. Just again, a lot of different little bug fixes within the different DLCs and quests that you find within those DLCs. All right, so this one's Murkmire DLC game pack. Black Rose Prison Arena, Mess Hall of Misery, renamed the secondary damage component of Bat Swarm to Herring Bat to better differentiate the two sources. They've also fixed this one, renamed Orsium treasure maps to Worthgar treasure maps so they properly reflect the zone that they're related to. Somerset, crafting and economy. So now, Feller, I don't even know how to say that name, now has a map pin. They also fixed some combat abilities. All right, so this is a huge one for a tank. Generally, drastically improve the back-end scripting of Taunt to be more responsive and follow its intended rules better. This should fix multiple issues where taunts would sometimes lose target context, exhibit issues when cast from a range, and erase conditions where some parts of the hidden behavior, such as taunt immunity, would still apply to target even if you failed to taunt them. Updated break free to allow a more consistent cost rule when compared to other abilities. This will reduce situations where you could desync their stamina bar when using, as well as improving the response time to invalidating if you have enough resources to cast it. Many bonuses that reduce its cost has also been changed to be handled naturally by the server rather than an ability. All right, so the big thing for Taunt and I noticed this when running with a lot of my group mates and guild mates, is when I would taunt with one of my tanks, and in certain situations, they would just run right by me and go in and attack somebody else, and it was kind of annoying. All right, so increase the damage taken, reduction from the Battle Spirit passive to 55, up from 45. After the recent adjustments to the base character stats, champion points, item set scaling, we've seen a significant shift in the meta in ways that we wanted. In many cases, in other areas, primarily burst damage over time to kill, we've seen plenty radical shifts to something that's less dangerously low. In efforts to expand the window of TTK, we're upping the effective base player damage reduction from 50 to 60. Remember that the players naturally take 10% less damage now, which which is the why Brittle Spirit was reduced by 44% to preserve the original 50. To make up for the additional stats all characters have, especially in non-CP environments. All right, so these are some of the other things. The following passives and player abilities now grant hybrid stats to help improve their variability and accessibility to off-meta builds, because we love them too. Agility now grants weapon and spell damage. Balanced Warrior now grants 660, 1320 armor rather than the 1320. These again go through different ones. Dexterity now increases critical damage and healing done per piece worn up to 2% in the final rank rather than weapon critical. Prodigy now grants weapon and critical as well. Flawless Dawnbreaker's bonus now grants equal weapon and spell damage values. Prodigy now grants equal critical chance. Scaled Armor now grants 825, 1650 armor rather than the 1320, 3300 spell resistance. I mean, these are things that the game definitely needed to get fixed, and I could see them why the devs did it on the back end, and we're looking at some of these. Fix multiple issues with ability bar timers displaying incorrect durations. Fix numerous issues with synergies failing to be considered ability casts. Note that requirements that check for abilities with a cost will still fail. Fix an issue with abilities using new area effect ability scripting from update 30, such as Dragon Knight's standard or negate magic could hit innocent targets unintentionally. These are just fixes that they definitely looked at. Adjusted many player abilities to no longer attempt to remove stealth or invisibility when they should not. This means that one player's abilities that should remove stealth are area of effect damage, direct damage, stuns, fears, immobilizations, as well as reveals. Attacks made with detection potions active may still damage the target. Also fix many issues where the attacks that were checking in areas regularly to hit singular targets could target stealth or invisible targets, such as Force Pulse or Shrouded Daggers bouncing attacks. Any attack that checks an area to attack singular targets will no longer attempt to even apply to targets under these effects. So I definitely see why they're doing some of these fixes, and truthfully, in my opinion, they're definitely needed. All right, so developer comment. The main goal with these adjustments were to improve the consistency and reliability of things like Shadow Cloak, while also stamping out more deliberate rules on what should counter the effects. Currently, these effects have a lot of frustrating counters, mainly ones that feel like the attacker is getting for free an attack they've been using naturally regardless, such as pulsing AoE dots. Making it relatively easy to deny stealth and invisibility when you know how. While we did spend a lot of time helping these effects feel more reliable, we also buffed many of the more deliberate sources of stealth and invisibility denial to make counteracting them feel better in general and to better reward going out of your way utilizing them. All right. So fix an issue where the guaranteed critical chance and damage of successful sneak attacks could, in some cases, apply to multiple attacks at once. All right. So let's get down to some of the class changes. So the Dragonite, Earthen Heart, Magma Armor, Corrosive Armor Morph, fix an issue where the penetrating check on direct damage for this morph was not consistent with other sources. Molten Weapons fix an issue where you could not cast this ability or its morphs on nearby neutral enemies. Necromancer, Gravelord, Boneyard, Unnerving Boneyard Morph. Fix an issue where this morph's damage was not considered area of effect. And Flame Skull, this bonus damage with this ability's morph's third cast has now been built into their damage coefficients rather than a bonus modifier effect. This will clean up some calculation errors that resulted in less damage than intended. All right, Nightblade, Shadow Cloak. Fix an issue where this ability's morphs protections could work even if the attacker had a detection potion active. So this goes back to those previous fixes where sneaking was looked at. All right, Sorcerer, Storm Calling, Overlord. Light attacks with this ultimate and morphs now break stealth when cast. There's nothing sneaky about lobbing giant bolts of lightning at your foes. And I agree. I mean, you're getting ready to throw a ball of lightning and your target should see you. All right, so Templar, Dawn's Wrath, Backlash. This abilities and its morphs now retain 50% of the damage you deal to the target, up to 20% to help be more reliable in player versus player encounters. The final explosion now scales off your weapon and or spell or weapon damage depending on the morph, rather than magic or stamina. This final explosion now scales on both the positive and negative bonuses rather than the only negative ones. Ha ha, backlash, go boom. Radiant Destruction, fixed an issue where both the morphs of this ability had scaling coefficients with less significant figures than intended, resulting in some very minor lost damage. Radiant Oppression Morph. This morph no longer increases the damage done by the ability based on the current magicka, but instead increases the damage scaling of the execute multiplier by execute multiplier to 500%. Wow. This could retain roughly the overall maximum power of the morph, but far less micromanaged. Wow. Crazy. All right, so Warden, Green Balance, Accelerated Growth. This passive now grants a major mending for 4 seconds on proc, up to 1.53 seconds. Winter's Embrace, Frozen Gate. This is a change. This ability and its morphs now traps now last 15 seconds rather than 30. Fix an issue where in some cases these abilities could remove themselves rather before their timer ran out. That's I use this on my tank. I don't know how that's going to affect. It's 15 seconds to 30. Or from 30. I don't know. I gotta look at it. All right, so Weapon, Destructive Staff, Ancient Knowledge. The passive now better discerns what an area effect attack and what isn't with its bonus damage based on the staff type. Increase bonuses of both the Inferno and Lightning Staff types to 5-10% up from 4-8% to help better match the power of Twin Blade and blunt and heavy weapon granted. Destructive Touch. This ability and its morph now guarantee the respective elemental type status effect on the hit. Increase the cost of $29.70 up from $27.00 to incorporate and add auxiliary effect. Increase the range to 15 meters from 14 meters for better consistency, since Destructive Clench was already 15 meters. The Frost Touch and Reach versions of this ability now deal 80% more damage on an initial hit to make them equal to the range spam bull damage attack to give the love to those Frost DPS out there. Destructive Clinch Morph. The Frost version of this ability still remains tank focused rather than DPS focused, and as such has received a cost reduction from $14.85 down from $27.00. Nice. It also applies a major maim for 5 seconds at rank 4. That is really nice. Again, I was talking with some of my my Discord mates and my guild mates, and we were talking about this and how we could apply it to tanks. Do we drop one of our range spammable and put this one in? I don't know. We're going to look at it. All right. So with the introduction of Frostbite set in update 30, we saw a lot of discussion on the viability of frost damage sets and how their main drawback, regardless of their power, was there was no frost damaging ability that could be used as a spammable attack. Rather than bloating these sets further, we've decided to let Frost Touch and its morph stand out. Frost Touch and Reach now deal range spammable damage and initial hit. Additionally, Frost Clench has been missing the mark for being a viable taunt compared to Puncture or Inner Fire. So we've decided to amp it up by introducing a source of on-demand major main while also reducing the cost. The changes to the base ability also help to gain a form on-demand minor brittle, helping both DPS and tanks out regardless of the morph. Nice. Definitely looking at this for my tank builds. Elemental Force. This passive now properly states its effect on all status effects chances rather than only the elemental status effects. Force Shock. This ability and its morphs can now once again be reflected. Once upon a time, a special rule was made for these abilities to not be, as it interacted poorly with the changed base reflected skills such as Yield Reflective Scales, which has been clipped. Therefore, this behavior is irrelevant and inconsistent. Wall of Elements. Fixed an issue where a Wall of Fire and Morph's bonus damage against burning targets didn't work past 9 seconds. Elemental Weakness of Elements. Elements morph. This morph now persistently, indefinitely, until the target leaves combat or dies. All right, Dual Wield Flurry. Bloodthirsty Morph. This morph now heals up to 33% of the damage done per hit rather than up to 63. That's kind of big. Restoration Staff. Absorb. This passive now procs on successful block rather than only against spells, which was already a half-truth as it procced on plenty of non-spells as well. Increase the restore to 300, 600 magicka on proc up from 288, 540. This passive now has 25 milliseconds. Essence of Drain increases the duration of major mending from its passive to 4 set. Up from 1.53 seconds. This passive now heals a friendly target within 12 meters on the enemy. You heavy attack up from 6 meters. Increase the healing done to 25-50% from the damage done up from 15-30%. Fix an issue where the passive could critically strike despite the initial hit already being able to do that. No double crits allowed at this dinner table. Grand Healing Springs Morph. Remove the visual effects for the magicka restore on this ability to help reduce visual clutter. Penance Life Giver Morph. Fix an issue where there was a short window of time where all spells could cost nothing after activating this ability. Fix an issue where this morph could fail to be recognized as a restoration staff ability in some rare cases. All right, Two-Handed Berserk Strike Onslaught Morph. Fix an issue where the penetration check on direct damage for this morph was non-consistent with other sources. Cleave. This ability and the Cleave morph now apply a damage shield on you when cast equal to the scaling coefficient of the initial hit. No, it does not grant a shield based on damage done. Increase the cost of all versions to 3510 up from 3240. Adjusted the area of the versions to hit 300-degree arc with a 5-meter radius rather than the 140 degrees with the 7-meter radius to better line up with the attacker's visual appearance and to help make it more clear which attacks should land and which should not. Brawler Morph. Increase the base size of the morph's damage shield by approximately 7% to ensure it matches others. Carve. The bleed from this morph can now stack up to 3 times. Blood of the Blood God. Brawler is currently the clear winner in this terms of the morph options, as it scales far more effectively in power per target. This, paired with the fact that the melee damage or the melee builds require staying power, makes a defensive option the clear winner, but makes a carve feel weak no matter how high the damage could be adjusted. By adding a baseline shield to these abilities, we hope to see more active choices between the morphs. Will you let the blood flow or for you or and your enemies, or staunchly stand in their faces? All right, so armor, light armor, an element, harness magicka morph, fix an issue where you could get more than 3 magicka restores from this ability per cast. World, soul magic, soul lock. This passive now procs on killing blow rather than only killing blows with weapon attacks. Remove the visual effect from the proc. Summon souls, this passive now properly follows its listed cooldown rather than having an hour cooldown regardless of rank. Soul Strike, fix an issue where this ultimate and morphs reveal was not a negative effect and therefore could not be purged or was visible on your buffer tracker. Vampiric Drain, this ability and its morph now heal for 25% of your missing health per tick, up from 23%. Morphs no longer rank up by 1.1% per damage done per rank and now rank up. It's in morphed effects. Exhilarated Drain, this morph now rank up 1 additional ultimate per rank, which will be 5 at rank 4 and up from 4. Drain Vigor Morph, this morph now gains 1% missing stamina. All right, Guild, Fighters Guild, Expert Hunter. This ability and the Camouflage Hunter morph now reveal hidden enemies within 8 meters of you and up from 6 meters. All versions of this ability now check for hidden enemies every 500 milliseconds. Instead of once every second, for more responsive catching of those slippery targets. Great for PvP. All versions of this ability now prevent stealth and invisibility for 4 seconds, up from 3 seconds. The hidden passive for this ability and its morphs, Sense Evil, now only highlight player werewolves and vampires rather than undead Daedra or werewolf creatures. This change was done to better represent the targets your skill tracker bonus works against. Evil Hunter Morph. This morph now increases the radius of the reveal to 12 meters. Skill tracker. This passive now increases your damage with Fighters Guild abilities by 10% and additional 10% against player werewolves and vampires, rather than increasing your damage done with Fighter Guild abilities by 20% against undead Daedra werewolves. So developer comment, this passive is currently attempting to validate a very long list of specific targets and checks on the back end to apply its damage bonus. Rather than continuing this, it will now only check 3 things instead of 23. That's got to be good. Each time you deal damage while retaining its flavor in PvP environments. Trap Beast, this ability and its morphs now last for 15 seconds after their delay rather than 1 minute. Ouch. Mages Guild, Fire Ruin. This ability and its morph traps now last for 15 seconds after their delay rather than 30 seconds. A lot of stuff is going shorter. Mage Light, this ability and inner light morph now reveal hidden enemies within 8 meters of you, up from 6 meters. All versions of this ability now check for hidden enemies every 500 milliseconds. Instead of every second, for more responsive catching of those slippery targets. All versions of this ability now prevent stealth and invisibility for 4 seconds, up from 3. Sigic Order, Deliberation. This passive no longer grants major protection. Instead applies a unique 30% unique damage mitigation to get its passive powers back to where it's meant to be. Imbue Weapon, Crushing Weapon Morph. This morph now applies major breach to the target for 6 seconds rather than healing for 25% of the damage caused, to help ensure things being crushed wasn't your dreams. Undaunted, Inner Fire. This ability and Smurf now only apply their unique visuals if the synergy is successfully applied to the target. Fix an issue where Inner Fire and Rage were placing an extra effect on the target. Inner Beast Morph increases the morph's damage taken on the bonus target to 12% at the base and up from 2% to better enable the very few bruiser tanks out there that will utilize this skill. All right, Alliance War Assault. Magic Detonation. Reduce the base damage of this ability and its morphs by approximately 60%, but increase the scaling per target to 100%, up from 25. This ability now deals less damage than a normal area of effect spam bolt until it hits three or more targets. Updated the tooltip to state that scaling works on the initial target as well. This should reduce the potency of the skill against smaller groups while retaining the high damage against large ones. Support. Revealing Flare. This ability and its morphs now prevents stealth invisibility for 4 seconds, up from 3 seconds. This ability and its morphs now passively grant major protection while slotted to ensure that they do not feel lackluster to slot when not actively trying to deny stealth and invisibility. Similar to Mage Light or Expert Hunter granting major buffs. All right, champion system. So there is a new, I'm going to do a whole video on the new champion system, so I'm not going to go ahead and get into this just yet. All right, so the next up is itemizations and item sets. There is a lot to unpack from this. But again, a lot of it is just the devs fixing things that they saw that weren't working correctly. So like proc sets or item sets that they didn't feel were correctly not showing active bonuses correctly, like right here, right? They're also fixed like, the prismatics, but I'm not going to go ahead and talk about that at this point. This video is already over 45 minutes. If you want, definitely jump in and go into the, the forums and go into the, and check out if you're running one of these sets or have a question as far as like prismatic weapon changes, the ability altering weapons, you could go into the forum and check out the patch notes and see if you have one of those sets or if one of those like the prismatic weapon change, if it's going to affect you negatively. But at this point, I appreciate everybody that has hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't, definitely consider smashing that subscribe button. It definitely helps out the channel. It definitely helps out the algorithm as far as YouTube goes. As you know, I'm almost at 100 subscribers. I'm like almost right there. If you could, definitely, I would definitely appreciate you. Also, if you want, you can catch me on Twitch at RetroDog34. I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday, and Sundays. I will put the link down below. And I also have a Discord where we're building a community of like-minded players, mostly of my guildmates from the Xbox server. So if you want, I'll put the link down below for my Discord also, and jump in there, say hi. Till then, happy adventuring in Elder Scrolls Online.